A previous guest with a deep connection to the eruption of Mount St. Helens joins us again on the show. Welcome to RV Out West. I'm your host, Brooks. My Family of Four's base camp is located in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and our RV adventures radiate out from there. Please grab a mug of coffee and join us as we discuss RVing around the American West. From sweet camping spots, gear and equipment, to tips and tricks, we've got you covered. We are RV Out West. Quick update on the podcast survey. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to fill out the survey and to provide me with some valuable feedback. I deeply appreciate it, and I have read each and every one of them. The 2024 survey is now closed. Stay tuned to the end of the show to learn who won the $80 thank you gift. That includes $25 worth of credits from our friend and sponsor over at camperalerts.com. If you're ever looking for a hard-to-get campground or looking to find a campsite for a specific weekend, set a simple alert with Camper Alerts, and then we'll notify you by email or text when a spot becomes available. It really is that simple. We also got a 1-year subscription from RV Overnights, valued at $30. RV Overnights is one of the new guys on the block, and they help you find a fun spot to spend the night from wineries, breweries, farms, golf courses, and so much more. It's a great solution if you're looking to string a few overnights together on a multi-day trip, or they can even be great to find a destination. RV Overnights was recently on the show, and you can go back and listen to that previous episode. Please visit rvovernights.com for more information. I'm throwing in a $25 gift card to Amazon so you can pick up something fun and campy to add to your RV on behalf of RV Out West. Thank you again to everyone who participated, and I look forward to sharing with you who won at the end of this episode. Now, on to the show. I first started this podcast as a creative outlet during the long days of the lockdown. At that time, I was still a relatively new RVer who had been bitten by the RV life and was just excited to talk about it and the community. One of my earliest guests was Tara of Tara's Tiny Trailer. She had just gotten her first camper as well, a tiny tow-behind trailer by Happier Camper. She was smitten with her brand new camper, so she started an Instagram account where she'd begun sharing all sorts of fun things, from tips on how to utilize small space, how to create a cool outdoorsy vibe, and she also shared some great cocktail recipes. If you're new to the podcast, or it's been a while since you've listened to an older episode, go back and be sure to check out episode 22 of our previous conversation. Tara, it's great to have you back on RV Out West. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so let's do, just for those who may not have listened to that episode, because I think you were like episode 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in the very early days of the show. So can you just give a very brief introduction to yourself?
Okay. Yes, I can do that. My name is Tara. My Instagram account is Tara's Tiny Trailer, which says it all. I explore Washington and Oregon and sometimes California if I'm feeling adventurous in my tiny trailer, and I'm a weekend nomad. So I drag my kids and my dogs with me, and we explore a lot of state parks in Washington.
You do a lot of state parks. You
I
do
love
a lot
state
of
parks.
hiking. You do a lot of
Yes.
cocktailing.
I do. I love outdoor food and cocktails, and I partner with some really fun companies that make it very easy for me. And yes, tons of hiking, tons of paddleboarding. That was new this year. So yes, general outdoor enthusiast and an eater as well.
Yeah, and a tiny trailer. I mean, your trailer is like 10 feet or so. You tow it with a Jeep Gladiator.
Yes, it's very small, which is great because it just keeps things easy and tidy. It's always ready to go. And I think I use it more because it's so simple and small.
Well, let's talk about some of the places. If I recall, one of your favorite places was that really cool hike that was along the edge. That's kind of, still haven't done that hike yet.
Beacon
Rock? Beacon Rock.
Beacon Rock. Yes. Yes. And I did go back this year. I can't stay away.
Okay.
And I actually took paddle boards this time, and we paddle boarded at the base of Beacon Rock And you can look up. So we were in the water hanging out, and you can look up and you can see the people scaling the side of the rock. It was incredible.
That's
So it
pretty
has a
cool.
fantastic campground, fantastic trail system. Not only Beacon Rock, but the trail system that goes up behind the campground. It's a great spot. Still a favorite.
So where else, what are some of the newer places maybe that you've been adventuring and exploring out and about in the greater Pacific Northwest? Kind of where's been some
Newer
fun places you've been checking out
places.
since we last spoke?
Yeah, I kind of creature of habited it this year. That's my new word. Creature of habited it. Where when you have limited time and you just want to go to all your favorites, Beacon Rock is one of them. I also did a bunch of just camping on private land, which has been really cool. I've kind of connected with some people who have property and, been able to weasel my way into some of these really cool places that are private. One of them has a lake, this little lake, and it's just stunning. And so I did some of that this year too, which was really cool.
Was that more like boondock style? I mean, so you're just right.
Yeah.
You're not hookups. You're just there doing your thing.
Yep. Just
running off
there.
battery,
And
solar, whole nine.
Yep. Battery solar. I have to be careful. I got to change my habits a little bit so that I don't end up in a bad situation. But typically it works well. And I do have a dry flush toilet that I can add to my camper. So I can configure it to do that. Usually it's nice to have the plug, close by just in case I overdo it.
Right.
But for a weekend, it's really fun just to kind of find some nooks and crannies to hang out.
Has there been any sort of new state park that surprised you, or any other new places that, state park wise or something maybe that you have visited or gone and seen?
Yeah, I think my favorite, and I probably said this last time, and it continues to be my favorite, but my favorite I think might still be Deception Pass and Moran State Park. But I discovered in my quest to keep my teens, I mean, a lot's changed in the 4 years I've had my camper. They were little kids and they were excited no matter what. And now I have to kind of encourage them using paddle boards in order to come camping with me. So actually Lake Easton State Park was one that really surprised me.
Okay.
It's spotless clean. The campsites are wooded. And the lake is so much fun to paddleboard.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people out there. There are little nooks and crannies that you can explore. You can go under I-90 and kind of go up the river a little bit. So it's a really fun, engaging place. And the lake is the perfect temperature for swimming and it's clean. So that was my sneak. It's just one of those places you don't really think about.
Right. I usually just drive right by it on I-90 and just keep cruising.
Exactly.
Same thing with, is it Catchis? Catchis is another one right there next to Lake Easton. That's kind of been on my list and radar, but I've never stopped. So
yeah, and it's a sleeper. But you get out on the lake, and I ended up going multiple times to paddleboard because it was so fun.
Well, let me ask you this: what size? I know, because for you with your tiny rig, you can fit in just about anything. But do you think somebody with a 26-foot travel trailer could fit in there in that campground?
Yeah, they have two sections. They have a section that's mostly tent campers or small campers. And I actually mostly go over there because with my little camper, I can kind of squeeze in
anywhere.
Yep. But there are lakefront sites that are RV compatible. So you see it all over that.
Okay.
So there's a separate area that if you have a bigger rig, it's fantastic. It's all paved. It has all the things you want when you have a bigger RV. And I've stayed both, but I always feel silly with my little tiny camper in the RV section.
Right. What time of year were you there when the lake was warm? I mean, were you dead of July, dead of August?
Yeah. I mean, just all summer.
Okay. And you had no problems getting a site? None of that crazy state park?
I am a big time stalker when it comes to the Washington State reservation system. Mm-hmm. So typically, I'm completely honest. Usually I don't have my trips planned in advance. There are some campgrounds where I try to book like Beacon Rock or Deception Pass, the ones you just cannot get into. But other than that, I just basically refresh and check back on the website throughout the week and just see where
What
I
pops
can
up?
get into. So, like I love Alta Lake State Park.
Yeah.
That's another one that just became a favorite. Great swimming area, just stunning. And I can kind of squeeze into the lakefront sites. So yeah, I just sit and kind of wait for cancellations, and I just go where I can get in, and I have a handful that I'm trying for, or so yeah, I've been able to luck out with Lake Easton because it's booked solid all summer.
It is. It always seems booked,
Yep.
but people cancel and do whatever. So yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Cancellations, especially on Thursdays, when they decide, excuse my language.
No,
Oh,
you're fine.
shoot.
Yep. Can't go.
Our plans won't work. Yeah.
You've mentioned a few of the state parks. You've been lucky and finding some fun on private land. What kind of bigger adventures, have you been down to Bend, or, what are some of your kind of bigger, greater adventures that you've been going on in the last couple of years?
Yeah. I love Bend. I actually did an adventure down to Happier Camper headquarters in LA, and I took the kids and the camper. And that was a blast. Dropped my camper off with them for a few days. I think this was a couple years ago, and they were installing an air conditioner.
Right. That was a couple of years ago.
Yep.
I remember that. Yep.
Yep. And so that was a massive adventure, and it was a blast. It really was. And my next one, I want to do Banff next year.
Well,
I know you just went.
You should listen to the episodes. I can tell you all about bringing an RV into Canada, all about Banff. Be sure to check out the town of Revelstoke. There's some great podcasts there for you and content for you to listen to in your car.
I need to. I meant to do it this year. I can't remember, but there's this RV resort that always reaches out to me and tells me to come up, and I just could not make it happen this year. So that is my goal next year, is to head up into Canada. So I will be reaching out because I have no idea. I haven't.
Yeah. Go listen to those back episodes.
Yeah.
But then also, I will say that in January, that is going to be the time. If you want, try to book at Tunnel Mountain Trailer Court, which is part of the Parks Canada National Park System. It's right in Banff. You can catch buses right from the campsite, or from the campground, not from the campsite, but from the campground, to take you into downtown Banff and whatever.
Oh, cool.
But that is like trying to get, depending on our age gap, Rolling Stones, Grateful Dead, Taylor Swift tickets. There is a queue, and it starts at 7:00 in the morning. And I lucked out, and I was like number 2,000 in the queue. And some friends and family that were going were like 45,000 in the queue. And they had to wait 45 minutes before they could even get into the Parks Canada website to book their campsite.
No way.
But what's interesting is that's not everybody going to Banff. Canada's different. So Canada opens up the entire country on the same day.
Okay.
So you might think everybody's trying to go to Banff, but people could be booking out in Nova Scotia or up in the Yukon or in Whistler or wherever,
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it's wild, but it's a crazy morning of whatever. But I talk about that on the episode. So go listen. I'll give you tips and tricks on how to.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. It's a crazy game when all the different sites open, and
yep.
And I'm terrible, and every year I realize I'm too late.
Yeah, it's it's whatever, a Monday or a Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Just be ready to sit down with your credit card and a cup of coffee and be ready to book a site. So
love it.
Yeah. Well, Banff is fantastic. You'll love it. So I only took a week off from work, right? So I was there for, basically a Saturday to a following Sunday, because it's 9 hours away.
Right.
It wasn't enough time. You're not going to be able to see it all. You're not going to do it all. It was unbelievable. I will be back, and I'm not going to wait a decade to go back.
Okay. Well, that's inspiring.
Mind-blowing. And the drive from Banff to Jasper, and we went during the wildfires. The Icefield Parkway is now replaced and become my favorite stretch of road in North America. It is really stunning. So time that drive during magic light, morning, sunset, something, but it's beautiful.
Sold. I need to prioritize that.
You'll love
Absolutely.
It. And you know what? You can get those teenagers up there if you just bribe them with poutine and, Timbits and go up to Timmy Hortons and, whatever. It'd be fine.
I know it's getting harder and harder I got in just in time.
Yep.
They're kids and now they're getting older, but I'm still able to force them to come and play
All
with me.
dressed chips, poutine, Tim Hortons. You should be fine.
I love it. The paddle boards helped, let me tell you.
Yeah. And let's talk about paddle boards real quick.
Yeah.
What paddle boards did you ultimately end up getting?
Oh, that is a good question. I so wish I could rattle off, but honestly,
Were they the Costco specials?
No, they were Camping World specials because Camping World, they don't charge for shipping.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like they did a deal. And I was wondering, like, can you really buy a decent paddleboard for, $200 or $250, whatever they were, complete with everything? Especially when I was buying for teenagers, I didn't know if they'd get into it or even like it, but they love it. It gets them out camping with me. We bring our dogs. Our dogs go on the paddleboards now. And the paddleboards were fantastic. And so we all have our own now.
Cool.
I got mine at Camping World too.
Nice. Okay.
But mine was a little bit more expensive.
Oh, good for you. You deserve it. Good for you.
I wanted a specific, brand and color and all that. But anyway, it was great. It was such a good decision. It has completely changed our goals and our focus. Now we kind of look for water access and it just added. We just pack a lunch and paddle out and swim and eat and hang out.
That's so cool.
It's really awesome.
Let's talk about some of what's maybe been some of the latest RV projects. Has there been any fun RV projects, updates, anything you've been doing to your camper that you kind of want to talk about that's kind of fun?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I'm in this torment mode where your camper just doesn't look like it used to. It's fiberglass, it has gel coat, and it looks like primer. It doesn't look like a nice shiny camper anymore. And so it's just, it's so difficult. And then you get to the point where the frame has some rust on, I'm just in that phase of needing to work on it and do some repairs. And I think a lot of my content, not a lot, but a portion of my content moving forward is going to be kind of what to do and how to overcome those things when your campers needs some help. And it's a bummer. It's so sad. I see pictures, from earlier in my Instagram journey, and it was just so beautiful and so shiny, and the finish is completely done. So one of my goals is to partner with a wrap company, and I haven't started reaching out yet, but that's my next project, is to partner with a wrap company, maybe do a really fun wrap and kind of go through that process, what it looks like, because I've heard from other owners, we've had multiple conversations about this, about where are you at with your finish? Because mine is gone. And you can't buff it or anything at this point. There's just nothing left. Yeah. So that I'm kind of going to explore what to do in that instance when the shine is gone.
Right.
So sad.
Fair enough.
So sad. I did have my first accident. I got backed into, so I had to go through some repairs, and things are never perfect after the repairs.
What's the story?
I took my camper into the local RV store to work on some wiring issues I was having, and a giant motorhome backed into my camper and then left and didn't see it. So it was kind of adventurous. They had cameras and we tracked them down and all that. But yeah, it was a bummer. So I think I've been going through getting the repair work done, not being happy with it. I can kind of see where the owies were still because the finish is so off. So those are the problems I haven't really been talking about lately because I've been formulating my next plan. Yeah.
That's a bummer,
but I'm excited.
Though.
It's a bummer, but I'm excited because I know I'm not the only one that goes through owies and boo-boos and their finish is destroyed. And
we got backed into in a grocery store parking lot.
You did.
Yeah. The kids were in the truck. It was in Pennsylvania. It was hot. We were hooked up. My wife is inside the trailer. I'm outside doing the whole shoving, throwing the groceries up in. She's putting them in the pantry, in the fridge. And this lady in a minivan didn't check her blind spot and backed into us. We were parked and she hit the corner of our trailer bumper. So our trailer miraculously was okay.
Oh,
But her whole rear taillight assembly, my bumper just annihilated all the plastic and the lights in that rear quarter
it just
panel.
sucks.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
It does. It sucks.
I don't think she's a fan of the show, but hey.
Right. Well, heck
That's
with
okay.
her.
Let's take a brief pause here and hear a word from our friends over at Camper Alerts. The seasons may have changed, but that doesn't make it any easier to find available campsites. Now, you can get notified of sold-out campsites when they become available with Camper Alerts. Choose your campground, pick your RV-specific filters, and set an alert. It's that simple. Visit camperalerts.com today and start setting your alerts. I am happy to say I haven't booked it yet, but I think 2025, I'm finally making it to Mount St. Helens. It is finally a big goal. I'm going to do it. I think we're going Memorial Weekend and finally putting it on it's finally, I think, going to happen.
I'm very excited for you. It is shockingly stunning.
I know, and I'm so excited, and as people know and listeners know, I've never been born and raised here. I was here when, she blew up.
Yep.
And I've never been. I mean, the Johnston Observatory is still closed.
It
So I don't know if
is.
we're going to kind of go around that north side or more down around the other side, the southern side where like the ape
Yep.
caves are. So I haven't
Please do the ape cave. Oh my gosh.
Do the ape cave?
I love the ape cave.
So then where should I camp down there near the ape caves?
Why do I want to say Sequest? I think it's Sequest.
Sequest, but Sequest is like it seems more like on the north side that you would still then have to drive south and around.
I've stayed there to do both.
Okay.
I know. Because it's like in that Castle Rock area.
Yeah.
So it's right where the Mount St. Helens
It
Interpretive Center is.
Enough? Sorry.
There's not a lot. I mean, there's a couple of other way up. There's a couple other lakefront places, but I usually stay in Sequest, and then you're right across the street from the Interpretive Center. Then you can kind of access both.
Okay.
I do one side one day and one side the other day.
Okay.
Yeah. And Ape Caves is great. And there's a trail called the Tale of Two Forests, which is a short interpretive trail, but it's really cool. It's just a neat area.
Okay. Well,
and
like
of course,
I said,
the mountain's stunning.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. But that now segues because we very briefly talked about it last time. And I just want to hear a little bit more about your family connection to this mountain.
My great-grandfather was a famous holdout back in 1980 when this all went down, when the mountain famously blew. He had the Spirit Lake Resort, and I think he had a 100-year lease on the land. Kind of a cool thing.
Right.
And built the Spirit Lake Resort. And then when the mountain was on its way to erupting and they had evacuated everyone, he just refused to leave. So he obviously got a lot of attention and press, and the sheriffs had to they kind of deputized him in order so that he could stay.
Okay.
Which is really funny. I didn't know that. But I was up at Mount St. Helens and I was listening to one of the park rangers talking about him.
And his name, I love his name, is Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know everyone's like, your great grandfather was the president. I'm like, no, the guy that wouldn't leave the mountain.
And everybody around here is like, oh, that guy.
Oh, Harry Truman. Yeah. I mean, most of us remember, and there was the made for TV movie, Man on the Mountain, I think it was called. And now it's really fun because YouTube, all of the old interviews, all of the people going up trying to talk to him, it's all on YouTube now. So it's pretty fun for me all these years later to be able to go look at that and kind of get more of an insight. I was 5 when the mountain blew. So
right.
He was, my family always talked about him. My dad constantly talked about Grandpa. So
I think I was 5. I was 6, I think.
Yeah.
Or about to turn 6.
Super kind of interesting.
Yeah. Now,
kind of interesting.
because the story I had heard, and again, it's hearsay because I don't know.
Yeah.
But was also that his wife had previously passed away and was buried there. I don't know if it was whatever. And he also didn't want to leave his wife.
I know. I think we talked
that.
about that. Yeah, I think we talked about that last time. That was something my dad and I discussed.
Is there any truth to that, do you think?
Well, yeah, there's truth to that. I mean, my dad knew him better than anyone else. I mean, he spent summers up there working. He stayed connected to him to the end when the mountain blew. He was in the car driving. I mean, this is back before cell phones. We didn't know the extent. We didn't know anything. So my dad just disappeared. Harry Truman's sister and husband lived in Castle Rock. So he immediately tried to get to Castle Rock to make sure they were okay. You know, they were elderly at the time. So yeah, so I believe what he said. And
wow.
I'm doing some digging, maybe a little project going on surrounding some mountain stuff that I can't really talk about, but
fair enough.
Yeah, but I think it's a subject that's going to be discussed more.
That's cool. That's very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Just a fun little tidbit of pretty famous Washington history.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have the background, and it's cool to, after a lifetime of hearing stories, to be able to venture up to the mountain and show my kids. And there's trails named after him.
Yeah.
And
whatever happened to the Spirit campground, or not the campground, but the resort? I mean, obviously, did it get just completely devastated?
Mm-hmm. It's thousands and thousands of feet of mud. The lake itself has been relocated. So if you actually Google Spirit Lake Resort, on Google Maps, the point will be right in the middle of Spirit Lake.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because it was buried, and then the lake itself relocated because of the lahar. So so the area where the lodge was is just completely covered.
It's crazy.
Yeah, totally crazy.
I mean, I've often thought about him and what he saw on that day in May 1980 when it actually erupted. Did he see it? Did the aftershock? I can't even imagine kind of almost that experience where it's
yeah, it seemed so quick,
Yeah.
And he was so close that I'm assuming it was just
pretty quick.
So fast that maybe there wasn't even a recognition.
Yeah. But interesting. Who knows?
Yeah, it's wild. It's interesting, and I'm excited to, do some digging, learn more.
Can you tease a little bit? Are you doing a podcast? Can you tease anything?
I can't tease at all. I
nothing.
Can't. No,
okay.
Not at all.
Not at all.
All I'm saying is just, maybe.
Maybe, who knows? Okay.
Maybe more information will come out, and we'll talk about it then.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Well, I look forward to that.
But yes. I have a project that I can talk about.
Tell me about it.
That is I think it's pretty darn cool. I was involved in several draw in your own style challenges with artists where they take a picture and one artist will start it and say, draw this picture in your own style. And I used to take pictures with my camper in front of murals.
Yes, I remember that.
Right. So these artists would then draw it in their own style. So all these different artists would draw these amazing pictures
of your camper in front of the murals.
Yes. So I have a coloring book coming out, and I think it's 22 artists have contributed pages. The artists are located all over the world, and they have drawn my camper in front of famous places from all over the globe.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
so the camper has gone from your backyard or your side yard, whatever,
yes,
to now being put around everywhere in front of the different landmarks and famous places in the world. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it's called Tara's Tiny Trailer Around the World, and it's been well over a year in the making, and it should be out any day now. We're just finalizing some fun stuff with the font on the cover. I can't decide on that. But other than that, we're pretty much ready to roll.
Typography is important.
It is. But the artists are excited, and they all worked really hard, and it's really exciting, and it represents just the community that happens.
Yeah.
There are those little positive aspects to social media, and it's building communities. And, we have the RV community and the campers and the off-roaders, and it was just cool to be pulled into a different community and meeting all these cool artists from all over the world.
That is pretty cool. And so where are people going to be able to find the coloring book?
So it'll be on Amazon.
Okay.
Right now we're just going to kind of do a drop ship. It's just me. I'm just self-publishing it. I'm working with a graphic artist to kind of put it together for me. And he
Cool.
takes the drawings and helps me compile everything. But yeah, it'll just be available for drop ship. And as soon as I can get it out and ready, I'll be raising my hands, and hopefully it'll be a cool thing for everyone to support.
Fun. Yeah.
And we're
what a fun Christmas
encouraging
gift for those like kids too, or those adults that like to color. That's cool.
And there's a blank page at the back for everyone to chip in and draw it in their own style and share it with us. And
Fun. What a fun project. That is a very fun project.
Yeah, it's been, I thought it would be easy, but nothing's easy, right? You figure it out along the way. That it was bigger than I thought. So I'm excited.
Well, where can people follow along on your adventures and learn more about you and your trailer and your camping adventures?
I would absolutely love that. I am at Tara's Tiny Trailer across most social media platforms, and my focus is Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Tara, thank you so much for coming on RV Out West. It was really fun to catch up and say hello and hear about recent adventures you've been on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fantastic, and I always love catching up.
The time has come to announce the winner, and that person is Adrian Minetti. Congratulations. I'll be sending you an email, so please keep an eye out for that. Again, congrats to Adrian for winning the $80 thank you gift for participating in the 2024 RV Out West podcast survey. If you like this episode, please share it with your family and friends. I'd also like to invite you to follow RV Out West on Instagram and Facebook, where you can join in on the conversation. Thank you again for listening to RV Out West. I sincerely appreciate it. Next week's episode will be the last one of 2024. I'm going to be taking about a month's leave from podcasting to rest and recharge with my family during the holidays. It is going to be a fun episode to close out the year, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Thanks so much for listening to RV Out West. Join us again next week. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you choose to get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. I sure would appreciate it if you left a rating or a review of the show. Special thanks to Scott Holmes Music for providing us the intro song, We Are One. RV Out West can be found on Instagram and Facebook, where you can interact with us and follow along on our RV adventures around the Pacific Northwest. So get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon.